Look, there's a lot we know about this election, of course, but there's still a lot we don't know. We know, for instance, that we lost ground with Latino men, with white women, with working class households, and so many other demographic groups. But what we don't know at this point, Mark, is the how and why. And that's because we don't have all the data back at our fingertips. But there are some things we do know, for instance, right? And one of the biggest for me, which should have been the canary in the coal mine this last election, was
sick of these milky white faces, TBH. Dude, the last DNC chairhead was Jamie Harrison, whose face was not milky white, and he was literally the worst guy ever in all of history. Don't you engage in that insipid id poll. I'm sure that back during when Jamie Harrison won the DNC chair, I bet you there were a lot of people praising the, you know, progressive diversity and inclusion of a POC DNC head that, you know, to herald in a new age of progressivism. We're not buying. Okay, Trump won. We're not buying any of this anymore, okay? It's all milky white faces all the time from now on. Dark woke. Okay, wait. Democratic brand. Let me see what he has to say here.
What would be your plan or your vision?
Well, I think, first off, we need to get back to basics in terms of our messaging, right? And what I mean by that is we clearly lost ground in this information environment that we live in. But
the problem for me is that, like, we need one attribute in a DNC chair, and that is they need to be a fucking psychopath. Like, they need to be insane in order for us to claw back anything. They need to be like a mad dog. And I'm hoping maybe this guy's the damn Joker and he just hasn't had his one push, it's like gravity moment.
The one thing that we are a very big tent party. We have very great diversity as it relates to race and ethnicity, as it relates to ideology, as it relates to geography. That is both.
Don't you think the way to fix people thinking the Dems do nothing for anyone is to explain the things they do get done? No, because they don't get anything done. Instead of joining the chorus and saying shit like they're somehow worse than Republicans, Zigabiz, don't be a pussy, okay? Come on. Just you're like, the inept whining should be saved for that. Go to their office and whine about what they've done, okay? I'm sorry. They've literally handed the country off to Nazis. Yeah, like you'll pardon the frustration. If they've done less than nothing. They haven't held ground. They've lost everything.
One of our greatest strengths, but also has been used as one of our greatest weaknesses. And sometimes we have allowed ourselves
like what,
to
you want to be a little
divided
bitch?
into smaller
you want to tell people like Democrats
voters, and then we message to those
they held ground
groups
and they increased the Pell Grant.
Ends up happening is no one understands what connects.
I'm frustrated too, but but to say they do nothing is literally the impression you are saying people have. Yeah, they do nothing, so they need to do something. I'm sorry, is your suggestion that I do like inaccurate PR for the Democrats? Like, the problem with the Democrats is that there aren't enough people lying to pretend they do more than they do? What if they did something? I had like radical suggestion, I know. What if the party that can raise billions of dollars for its elections did something, like, theoretically? Just I know
those groups through a broader narrative of, again, who we are, what we're fighting for. And so the thing that we have to do is, I believe, we also spend a lot of money on quantitative and qualitative research. Mm-hmm. Not that that's bad, but it's a very controlled instruments. And
so they don't do nothing, though. Look at what Donald Trump has done and tell me that the Democrats do anything. Labor rights were better under them? Yeah, because Republicans make stuff worse. And yeah, Lena Khan was good. And I did give... I'm sorry, wait, I'm sorry. I'm actually going to crash out over the dishonesty of your suggestions. I spent years positively covering the stuff the Biden administration did, okay? You want, like, infinite glazing for the do-nothing loser party? You know what? Winning labor rights means nothing if you then lose the election to the guy who takes away the labor rights. This isn't fucking... softball. There are no participation trophies. You're not getting A for effort, okay? If you lose the election and the next guy undoes everything, then it was worthless. Fuck, a lot of the benefits that we got under Lena Khan and the NLRB hadn't even really taken root yet. We didn't even see the benefit of these lawsuits play out. This is like decades and decades of work undone now because the Democrats, through shocking incompetence through this election. So many bad decisions at so many levels, from Biden refusing to drop out, saying he was going to be a one-term president, then not. Kamala Harris saying she wouldn't do anything differently. A complete mismatch in messaging in the interest of the public. Like, if you think there's nothing productive about hating the Democrats, I disagree. Hating the Democrats is the most productive, most honest thing anyone can do, because hating them is an important component to actually getting them to change. If you just like blithely accept them and lie to cover for them, then we're not going to get anything done, and the Republicans will win and win and win and win. There will be nothing left.
So for me, I've always believed we need to go back to what Bill Clinton used to talk about, which is what we now call ethnographic research, right? Or field surveys. Clinton said famously in '92 that, you know, if you want to know how people feel, go sit in a diner or a cafe and just open your ears, right? We need to get back to, a really a significant field program that's collecting information, whether that's door to door, year-round organizing.
Well, I do like, I mean, essentially what he's saying here is stop listening to consultants. And I agree with that. Bill Clinton, literally the most right-wing Democrat in modern history. Glad we're going back to that. Yay. Don't be a retard. Listen to what he's actually saying. I'm not even saying I like the guy. Just don't be stupid. You're listening to keywords and responding to them. You're like a fucking toy from the 1990s that picks, you're like a doll that children are supposed to scream poop at, so it says I'm pooping. Listen to the actual content of the sentence, okay? Use your analytical skills to parse the meaning of the statements. Don't just respond to the fact that he said Clinton. I'm not in the mood for your shit today.
But to build long-term power, this is the thing that the conservative movement has understood in this country for the last 30 to 40 years is that to build power, you have to contest races up and down the ballot. You can't just focus on 7 battleground states. You actually have to build a party to win and build a party to last. And that means making sure that you are organized throughout this country.
It is like very telling that Republicans are constantly doing outreach work in California, New York, whatever else, but Democrats do nothing in the entire Bible Belt. Literally, like, with the I like, there are legitimately, like, in the Midwest, the Bible Belt, the Great Plains, there are like 20 states Democrats will do literally no work in. Like, they, like, not even like, oh, they just coast, it's like a holding pattern. Like, they're just like, whoop. And the only Democrats that win there are ones that, like, independently fund their own races. It's insane. Meanwhile, there are tens of millions of Republicans in New York and California. Does he think Trump won because he campaigned in California? It's not just about like getting the votes because of the Electoral College or whatever. It goes beyond that. If you have a strong, do you have any idea how much damage Republican Californians have done, or California Republicans have done altogether? Not just like the people they send to the House of Representatives or whatever, but in terms of cultural capital, the fact that like there's a narrative all across San Francisco and Los Angeles of the city decaying, homeless people, fentanyl. You get like the infiltration of Republican messaging and money in California has drastically shifted. Like, California has some of the highest standard of living and like educational attainment in the country, but people think of California as a massive shithole that everyone's fleeing from. Now, in truth, the housing prices there are really bad and there's a lot of homelessness, but people think about California way worse than it actually is. If you want a city, or you want a state that's rife with crime, go to Arkansas or whatever. Go to some shit-ass red state where all the husbands are beating and raping their wives and daughters or whatever, you know? Like, the narrative that California is burning and falling apart is because Republicans have invested an ungodly amount of effort in portraying it that way. For non-American chatters, what does the DNC chair actually do? They're the head of the DNC, kind of. They're the chair. They are the elected head of the group of people who have prominence within the party and make decisions about the direction of the party, how to spend campaign money, how to direct and operate. Yeah, chief cat herder. They're not like in charge, but like chief cat herder, basically. Ken Martin is the second best choice we could have gotten. I do agree with that. I do agree with that. Can they tell Pelosi what to do? Well, you can try. The DNC chair isn't a politician, you know? They run the bureaucracy of the DNC. Nancy Pelosi is a politician. Any politician is going to have massively more clout than a DNC chair lead. So, like, technically, the DNC bureaucracy is herded by the DNC chair, but yeah, Nancy Pelosi is a dragon. You know, that would be unwise. But he's not her boss. Like the Democrats run the party, or sorry, the DNC chair runs the DNC. The DNC doesn't control people who are aligned with the party. Well, we'll see how they go. We'll see how things go, I should say.